just like it was.
Hello. We're back. And we're not gonna make it seem like we just keep leaving them. So they're just gonna be like consecutive clips.
That's the thing, we're friends. If you interview really real people, you interview your friends.
And we're back. So that's an old radio joke. For those who got it, cool. Anyways, yes, so I am here with my not imaginary friend, my real friend, aka Alice. Her real name I will not say because she's my anonymous guest tonight. And I love how the pillows and everything have been shifting. Yes, we are real friends here having a real Friday night before we go out, hearing her story. And of course we have to take breaks because you can't expect us to sit here in one spot the entire time while we're gabbing about. Okay, so just a minor recap of where we last left off was that Alice had Tony come here to visit her here in Brazil. They had a great trip. They were starting to plan her trip to go visit him in Europe. And she noticed that he was backing off a little bit. Unfortunately, her dog started getting really sick and was starting to pass away. And that's why Tony regained his attention back towards her. Once her dog did pass away, Tony continued to ghost even more, and to the point where Alice felt like it was time just to plan her European trip without him. Okay, now she's ready.
So at that point, I realized that I needed to book the tickets because, I need to get my ticket and I was supposed to book to Paris. And then I realized that all my friends were in London. I was like, you know what? I'm going to book my tickets to London. Once he hasn't been responsive, like he hasn't really responding me and talking to me, even that he knows what I'm going through. That was big to me because like I knew that they got along. He met my dog. He was like really into him. My dog was really into him as well. So like there was like I'm pretty sure he got sick. It's like a little bit sad when my dog died, but I had to like move on. And I used my trip as like, okay, you have something to plan. You've got a like life to live. So let's organize this. And it was funny because it was one day that I was planning to stay in his house and, being around him. We planned going to Amsterdam together. He's never been there. So I had to like London, I was going to stay with my friends. But I had to figure it out now, like, where am I going to stay? Because I'm going to go to Paris either way. I'm not going to change.
Yeah, if you're going to go to Europe, you're not just doing London. You're not just doing Paris. You're doing multiple spots.
And I'm not going to Paris because of him. I've already wanted to do this for so long. And it was like, okay, so what's the other option? It was funny because I sent him a message and it was like, so Tony, dear, I understand that you might be like going through your own stuff. I'm going through my own stuff. I just want to make sure that I'm planning my tickets. I've booked my tickets. I'm going to London. I arrived that day. And I just want to make sure that we are really like doing what we're have
planning on seeing each other.
And then it took a while and no answer. And I was like, look, you are completely entitled to change your mind at any point. I just need to know because my personality likes to plan things. I really don't like to be surprised. I'm not the spontaneous person that like, let's see what happens. I'm
not last minute. Yeah.
I like to see, like, I like to picture what I'm doing before I do. So for me, it was really important that I understood what I was doing. If it was going to be a trip that I was going to plan with him or without him.
And I think, sorry, I don't mean to interject for a moment, but I do. Because I think that's a really important part that I think a lot of people forget, especially long-term travelers, that we all don't plan the same way. And then that's a really important thing to factor in, like especially when dating, you have to take accountability for how you like to plan and making sure that's also in alignment with each other, because that caused a lot of friction between you guys. He kind of seems like maybe someone that's very last minute, goes with the flow, is not very present in the planning process. He just kind of like books one thing and books another. Whereas like for you, you really like planning the whole trip out as much as you can, but still allowing a bit of flexibility.
But is he? because when he came to Brazil, he booked his tickets in December to be here in February. I mean, it was a 2 month like
because he also didn't have to plan anything else,
but
right?
he
Like
didn't
no,
have to plan anything
yeah,
else.
that was
So
easy,
he
like
knew
an
he
easy
was coming
decision.
to my house. I mean, I don't know, but men, they have this certainty that the women are gonna be waiting for them in a way.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
have this entitlement that I'm planning my trip, and like by the time that I get there, of course you'll be waiting for me. And of course I was at the airport, with food ready at home and with drinks,
I mean,
wine.
that's our maternal
beer.
empathetic side, we're just.
I was ready to like make sure that he had the experience of his life in Brazil. And then as soon as I did this though, and then I was like very straightforward, because I knew that my trip wasn't about him, but it could include him or not. Just for my personality, I like to know like in advance, am I planning my trip with you or not? So I asked him several times. I asked him like a first time, like, are we planning this trip together? He was like, of course, you're coming here. You're coming to my house.
And this is right after you guys just spent time together in Brazil as well.
After we spent, that was sure. After Anouk died, he gave me a first insurement. Like, he was like, oh yeah, definitely. Like, you should come. You come to my house and everything. And then as soon as I booked the ticket, that was another like go see moment that I was like, again, I've asked you before, because at this point I was already like, now I need to plan my train tickets. I need to book Eurostar. And it was already like October. I booked my ticket to Europe, to London in beginning of September.
For December.
For the 20th of December. And then in October, I was like, so I need to book the train tickets. Because if you've seen Brazilian currency, and if you've seen that, like, actually how it fluctuates, it's like, it's me, like, I'm not asking him to book anything for me. I'm paying for all my tickets.
Like, when you know the currency is good, it's time to buy the tickets, because you might not be the same next week.
And for him, I mean, like, if you've seen, like, what Brazilian costs, I literally was planning a trip of a 5-digit, like a 5-number trip. Yeah. I knew that I was going to spend a lot of money. And every day that he like delayed to tell me what he was doing, the tickets would get more expensive. And for him, it might seem like, oh, it's just 10 euros. 10 euros for me is 60 reais.
It adds up quickly.
So it's definitely like a really good dinner for me every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it makes a whole difference when someone understands. I mean, he came here.
Yeah.
He came to my house. He knows how I live. He knows my situation. He basically knows my neighborhood. You also
still took care of him that entire time as well. How much did he pay for on that trip? Not that really matters, but I am just curious in terms of talking about changes of currency.
He definitely took care of me as well when he was here. He was like, oh, I'll buy everything. But I mean, that's the bare minimum. He's already in my house.
Yeah.
He's showering in my house. He's like air conditioning 24/7. I mean,
she was hot.
I'm the one who wants to keep everything, my fridge was packed as soon as he arrived. So that was all the unseen things that I put together for him to arrive. The house was immaculate. Everything was like perfect. So, I mean,
it's just an extension of yourself. So this definitely makes sense.
I feel like the only thing that I deserve at that point was clear communication for him to, okay, I changed my, people are completely entitled to change their mind. I've said that before, and I understand. Maybe he changed his mind, and there's nothing that I could do. I just want him to communicate. Like, look, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But he kept on delaying and just opening the messages and not seeing a clear message and reading the things and taking like days to answer a very simple message.
Of like, I'm planning this. will I see you there, or am I booking two of these?
But that was the thing. Seeing that was not enough. I took him in my place. I did everything to him. I was not going to be someone that he just met me for dinner, specifically because he understood that, like, I took care of him. He slept in my bed.
The expectations were high. Yeah.
I was not expecting him to marry me after this whole experience, but if he said that he was coming and that he was going to do the same, and he kept repeating, oh, should I plan my trip with or without you? Oh, no. Keep on planning with me. He said this several times. I will send you the receipts.
Receipts now shown.
But, and then he kept saying nothing. I was like, oh, I need to really book the train tickets. Disappeared. And then I asked like a friend in Europe, can you like help me to buy the tickets? And like I bought the tickets I was like, okay, I'm buying my tickets today. I gave myself a deadline. It was like Friday. I'm booking those tickets with or without him.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He disappeared. So I was like, thank goodness I have an amazing friend in Italy. He was like, oh, I'll help you to buy those tickets. And he was even like, he knew the whole situation. And he was like, you're buying the best for you, the schedule that works for you. And we got really good tickets though that day. He helped me. At that point, we figured it out already, like what was the best time to buy the tickets, to book the tickets. I knew everything. So I booked all my tickets. And then what I did, it was like, those are my tickets. Here you go.
I was showing them to Tony. And then how was his response?
And then I was like, this is the last call, basically. Is this with you or without you? This is the day that I arrive in Paris. I moved from Paris this and this day, and then I'll go to Amsterdam. That was what we planned before.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go to Amsterdam, and then I'll go back to London. You can go back to Paris. Those are the days. And according...
How big was this time window?
It was 15 days.
Okay.
10 days in Paris, 5 in Amsterdam.
Okay.
And those were the days that he already said that were good for him. The first time that he was like, oh, those days are good. And then it was like, I'm not sure if there will be like a family celebration. I was like,
for all of a sudden there might be a family celebration.
And I was like, again, one more time, I've already asked this to you. So should I plan with or without you? Because
I never heard, this is a new excuse to me. There might be a family celebration.
He doesn't even celebrate his family.
I just love this big ass excuse. Like, it's not like it's someone's birthday, funeral, anniversary. There just might be a family get together.
That's nice. Well, he planned someone's funeral. I'll be like in a funeral that day.
I mean, Alice is a wonder in all black, so of course she would come as well. She would come with a lace veil as well. There'd be skulls, whatever you need. Like she's there, soul and spirit. I love it.
And then as soon as he like didn't like really, like give me any answer at that point, I went out with my friends and they're like, you know what? There's couch surfing. There's this and that. You can do that. All of a sudden, it was just like a light open up. I'm like, couch surfing. Bing. That's what I'm going to do. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. That day I got back home and I downloaded the app. I made a profile. I wrote a really
this is your first couch surfing experience ever?
Yeah, I was
oh my God, you guys, her first time?
I did not sleep. I'm like,
I'm not trying to spoil the story, but it's like, oh my God, this is her first time, and like, what actually happens? Okay, I'm gonna be quiet for a moment so she can explain.
It could be like literally.
It was the best possible couch surfing first experience I think possible. If you have a better experience, please write in the comments. But I think Nanda's, I think Alice's absolutely tops the charts on this one.
That's gonna be. All the mystery is gone now. Okay, anyway, so I was...
No, don't worry. I can still edit your name out. I keep fucking up her name, of course, you guys. It's hard It's hard to interview your friend without saying her real name, but I'm gonna get better at this. Maybe I'm gonna put like a post-it on your forehead. No, it sounds like such a dick move. Put a post-it on your forehead that says your fake name. So every time,
Look at the mushrooms.
every time I look at her, I know her name.
We're all mushrooms. That's my code.
Do you think that can work on future guests if I just write their nickname on their forehead?
Yeah, I think so.
Or at least put it somewhere. Yeah,
I think so.
Okay. Write that in the notes. Okay.
But anyways, what happened after that? Yeah, I said like, okay, I got it. So that's not going to happen. I'm going to have to figure it out. And I didn't say anything anymore to him. I just figured out my freaking couch surfing. And it was very fast. I was talking to a lot of people. There were a lot of people being so...
She was just networking like crazy on couch surfing.
Really, and I didn't even sleep.
By the way, this is not a paid advertisement for couch surfing. I am not sponsored whatsoever. So if we bring up any businesses or apps or places, people, things, we're not being paid. Disclaimer over.
Literally, like 2 days after I started like my, journey with couch surfing, I was, okay, I figured out a place to stay everywhere now. There's nothing else to say anymore.
Oh, you mean to Tony?
Yeah, to Tony. I'm like, yeah. I've already figured it out. I don't need to talk to him anymore. And I realized at that moment that I was like, realizing that the main character of that trip was me the whole time. And then, of course, he started talking to me and he was like, I was like, okay, I'm planning the trip without you. And he was like, so I'm like, oh, you're not talking to me, so I already figured it out. We're good. We don't need to talk to me anymore. So I was like, what? Surfing? You're gonna stay in someone's house, in a guy's house. Like, it's none of your business.
How does one going from being avoidant to jealous? I mean, I understand how those two are pairing, but the audacity, that's just what I mean. Like, if you're gonna give a fuck and care about someone, sure, you can be a little jealous. But if you're going to pretend like you don't give a fuck about them, then you're not allowed to be jealous.
And it's not like he did something after that, because he had time before I got to Paris. This was like,
you sent him think about it. Itinerary.
This was like October. I was going to be there in November. He had a month. Oh, I'm not happy with that. I can do something. I was still like, if he does something before I stepped in Europe, I might be able to cancel stuff.
Yeah.
But as soon as I step my foot in London, everything is canceled. And that was what happened. As soon as I got to London, and I got like my friends, and one of my best friends that has been my friend like basically my entire life since we were kids.
Oh.
And I started talking to her. I started talking to the girls about the whole situation. And they were like, can I read the texts? They took my phone. They read the texts. And they were like, that's so much gaslighting here that I don't think you're seeing.
Yeah, they were seeing the text from Tony.
They were reading it, though. And then they were like, this is not okay.
I'm so glad that there was someone there. We had a support system there all the way across the pond to be like, no, Alice, this is not. And that's the thing. Sometimes the way that we're viewing things through our lens is not always the full reality of what's actually happening to us, because, some of us have such big hearts. We're so empathetic. It's not that I don't want to say too involved. You always want to see the best in people. Why would you want to see the worst? You know how big their hearts are, and that's why you love them. So I never want people to feel, or yourself to feel like you're at fault for believing in the best of someone. That's all. But we're just learning how to feel and use our support system and our tools to better navigate these situations. That's all. All right, continue, my love.
And it was funny because at that moment, as soon as I stepped in London, I had so many things to do. I had people that I want to meet. I had other friends that I want to see. I had booked some tours that I really want to do the first time that I went to London. I didn't get to do the first time. And then this time around, I would be able to do those things. And to me, it was very important for me to be there, and it was really nice that I went to London first, because it was when I kind of set my ground. Like, I'm actually taking myself all the way to Europe. I'm taking myself to here. I'm doing all of this by myself. Like, are you going to just accept this freaking bare minimum? And I told
these
him,
little breadcrummies.
and exactly what I said. Like, should I plan my trip with you? What I mean with you is like accepting from you what I delivered to you. I wasn't expecting something after. I do know that he got a little bit confused and carried away with what was promised, and that freaked him out. But I was like, you know what? I just want to make sure that we're going to do this together or not. Because if I said this with these words to him, if you're not, I can show you the receipts. If you're not doing this together, I don't want to see you.
Of course.
I'm not going to meet you at your best convenience.
This is not a convenience trip. This is not a drive-by. This is you on your European adventure that you've been waiting 2 years now for.
And I'm spending all
and you never got
money.
Your money back from that first flight. It
was like $5,000. That is like a lot of money.
That's
and then like it was like
of money,
all of those things that like I needed this trip. My dog just died. I'm trying to like feel good with myself again. And then I told him, if we're not doing this together, I'm fine to do this by myself. I just want to know. And as soon as he wasn't avoidant, I knew that I was doing everything by myself, that he was not included then. But I told him, I made sure that he knew that when he didn't decide because he just didn't choose, he just avoid making a decision. He didn't say anything. He just didn't answer and he didn't communicate anything. But I knew at that point that my choice was made. I'm not going to meet him. But I was still talking to my friends, like in a way that like, what if? And they were like, I'll support you if you meet him, but we don't really think that you should. I had like 2 friends that like, send us a message before you send him a message. And they were checking on me.
That's what you need. That's what you have to have. Someone to keep you in check.
Julia was checking on me. I had like several friends checking on me.
Just to make sure. I mean, I want to go back on our messages. I'm like, was I checking on you too? Just because it's not about having this like cheerleading squad around you about like, yeah, fuck this guy. It's about having a support system around you that no matter what decision you make, you know, you're going to have people there that support you. And you had that, which is, first of all, like you're super fortunate for having that. I hope you recognize that and cherish that, honestly.
Definitely. Like, the girlfriends, a support system, someone that actually understands, that has been to something similar, and that they can actually see themselves going through like what you've been like going through right now, and being like empathetic and real with that. Like, honestly, like my friends would say, like, honestly, I don't know if I wouldn't see him. Maybe I would. And they would come up with all of those things. Like, maybe you should tell him to come to one place and then don't show up. They would come up with all of those ideas. They gave me all these options. Anything you decide.
So it's like almost like information option overload also.
Yeah.
So, but that meant that you really had to tune into yourself and figure out what you actually wanted to do purely with your own energy and your own foresight. That did not make any sense. You can edit out.
But anyways, but then you got to Paris.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, but then she got to Paris. Well, Patty,
Couchsurfing.
Can I say Patty? I've never been to Paris, so I'm just going to pretend and be like,
oh, Paris.
Paris. I'm Uber Paris. No, so you arrive. She's got her first couch surfing guest, you guys. Well, couch first session. She's got her first couch surfing experience. Ever. And who is this with? Mind you, already her boyfriend, quote unquote boyfriend, was already jealous about who she might be staying with. And who do you end up staying with?
Oh my God, I cannot even describe this.
Am I allowed to share his photo?
I don't think so.
Okay, I think I will share the photos without your faces, But I think the photos are perfect enough purely because they're wearing onesies. They're wearing animal onesies
Yeah.
and just being, and then they're like, it's going on like fucking boyfriend, girlfriend shots around the city and like gorgeous places. So I'll just like, get rid of their actual faces, but you guys will get the vibe. You'll totally get the vibe.
He took me to before I got there, he already had like things like set for us. We went to like, right after I went to the Eiffel Tower. Well, I must say that it took us 20 minutes.
Oh my God. Okay. 20 minutes?
20 minutes.
I've never couch surfed before, to be completely honest. Is this normal? I don't know. It was your first time. How do you know if it's normal?
Well, because the other two times that I went couch surfing, one out of three, the other ones were completely different.
She's just been like horny waiting to get to Europe, and somehow her first couch surfing nurse knew it. Opens the door.
No, he didn't open the door. He actually left the key, like, he didn't play. I got to the apartment.
Was he just like
he was out? No, he was out and about. He had like stuff to do.
I thought it was gonna be like George from Seinfeld, like on the couch, like ready.
I had to open the door of his own house for him. It was really funny.
Like welcome.
He like knocked the door, and I opened the door of his apartment for him, and we looked at each other like, ah.
I get it. Honey, come home. Honey, I'm home.
But it was really weird because we really had a good vibe.
I feel like all we can do for this segment is just add Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C.
Okay.
Mind you, Tony is losing his shit because his spidey senses are like, my girl who's not my girl because I won't commit because I'm chicken as fuck is at a couch surfing place with someone he has no idea what this guy looks like. All he knows is it's a male.
And I said, like, I don't know really anything about him. We've been talking, but as much as like, I could tell that, like, I don't know, but he could even be gay. The one thing that I said, like,
see Exhibit A. I was like, wait, where did these onesies come from? I wasn't thinking gay immediately, but when I asked her, why did he have these? Alice's response was, I don't know. Because it's almost like she didn't feel the need to ask him, assuming that this must be part of his normal lifestyle because maybe he...
Yeah, the first conversations that I had with him, like, we really got along, but it wasn't like any connection, like, in a personal level. It was like, he was so funny. And I didn't know if he was like just French or if he was gay. To me, it was like, I don't know. I have a lot of gay friends that don't like seem gay at first, but then they are gay. I love the gays though. And then at first I was like, he could totally be gay. And just the vibe, because he said, when we were like talking, he said like, would you like to go to this drag show? He booked a drag show for us. And I was like, he's definitely gay.
I mean, that's my kind of guy. But I mean, like, gay guy. Definitely. But I also want to add like a new poll to this podcast of, is he French or is he gay? Is this a thing?
Yeah, he was just
I don't want to be canceled already. I just like I've never been to Europe. I've been all over Asia, all over South America, clearly American, been all over that place. But I don't know.
I thought for a while that he was gay for sure because he was booking all of this. Like, he was like, let me book this drag show.
And it's like, what could be the opposite? Like, oh, he thought you were gay and that you'd want to go to a drag show. Like, he just like knows what heterosexual women like in Paris. He's like, oh, we're going to Moulin Rouge.
Well, he kind of knew that my ex was French.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I have so many more questions about this, but let's keep going about your story.
But yeah, long story short, when I opened his own door for him, it took like 20 minutes that we understood that neither of us was gay.
Gay for each other.
And we did have like a super date the next day because I met him, like, I didn't know that he planned this lunch thing that he literally took me to the fridge in Paris. And I was like, what the hell am I doing this? Is this building I don't really know where in Paris, but it's a building that used to be a fridge back in the day in Paris that now the torture artists get to leave like tax free, or I don't know if they're paying
I feel
very
like I've
little
heard
for
of
those
this,
apartments.
unless you've just told me about it. I'm like, wait, is this
Le Frigo.
yeah, the frigo, the fridge.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is a place.
This is the place.
This is the thing.
And you cannot have like lunch there unless that you are invited. You cannot book a lunch there. And it just like, you need to know. And we literally sat to have dinner. No, we sat to have lunch, and there was like a 3-course, and I never even saw like a bill coming to our hands. Like it was all paid off at previously. I don't know, but
Wait, can we share his name by chance? I'm really curious if other women have had his couch surfing experience. Seems like way too good. Like
then I've read his reviews on couchsurfing.
This is why this was a perfect kind of setup. You just needed this kind of attention and love.
But at some point, I did. That's what the thing was. From the reviews, I could not really get if it was gay or not. Families were saying like, he received me and my daughter, and we could.
But I mean, like, and he planned like full.
Nobody said anything like that.
Oh, that's what I mean. Like, he took me out on essentially the best date 3 nights in a row.
And then we went like to a drag show after that. He got like, I didn't even see like checks or anything in this whole thing. I was being like literally out of the Eiffel Tower. I went to this 3-course.
Oh, you're at the Apple Tire? I was totally at Moulin Rouge still in my head. I'm like, voulez-vous coucher avec moi? So, okay, we're on the opposite side of the city. We're at the Eiffel Tower.
Then I went all the way to and I was like, he was like, oh, probably another hour would be okay. I'm like, are you kidding me? I cannot get out of here in an hour. I'm still like, and he was like, okay, but should I cancel the lunch? I'm like, no, I'll meet you there. And I didn't even know that he was like planning this whole thing. Of course, like we met the whole artist that is making the whole thing happen. And we talked to her, Isabel, and we hung out with her, and she was speaking. She's been to Brazil like so many times. She could talk about oh my God, French people. This French lady, she could talk about the political situation in Brazil, current.
You guys, I wish I could show her on camera right now. She's so cute.
No way.
I love when Alice gets passionate.
It was amazing.
But
Alice, we had like the best freaking evening, and like I was just like feeling really safe in Paris.
Yeah.
And that was when I think like Tony realized that I was there. Like, oh, so I feel you close. He said something like that. I've got the receipt. And I was like, that's because I am physically.
But also he's feeling the disconnection because you're pulling away with.
We did have like a video call that day. He was like, what's going on? And I'm like, I'm here in this place in Paris.
Oh, that's right. He video called you while you were in
because
your couch surfing host's place.
Well, he wasn't there, and I was ready to leave, and he actually called me and was like, let's get over with this.
Yeah, but immediately he saw you in an apartment, which easily could have been your own Airbnb or anything.
He knew I was.
But immediately got very, from what I remember when you first told me the story, is that he got immediately kind of jealous of you being in a man's home.
He was really jealous before, but as soon as he saw that like I was in someone's apartment, I don't think he didn't show me he was jealous. I just know by the way he was treating me. He was like, so what's going on? And I'm like, well, I'm going to and it was the day that I was like, I'm going to Montmartre. I knew what I was doing. Like my host was not there, and he was just like, so you're doing something by yourself? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm like, I don't know. And he was like, you have stuff to do? I'm like, yeah. And he was like, and you stay in someone's house? Is this guy like, what? Do you guys have something? I'm like, well, it's none of your business.
Yeah, because it's all about the tone that he presented the situation in the first place.
And he was like, maybe something is going on. And I was like, maybe something is going on. Maybe it's not. Maybe I want you to think that. Maybe something is actually happening, or maybe it's just me wanting confusing you.
Yeah, maybe.
But this either way is none of your business.
I think you're allowed to leave people a little confused when they've been assholes with you.
And guess what?
I think it's okay.
French people, they think that they have this like poetic excuse for being arrogant to people. And poetically, they are the arrogant ones in the world.
Yeah,
and they're fine to be like, oh, I'm just French. And I was like, guess what? I can be even worse than I learn fast.
You're
you
like,
want
I
arrogant?
can't even-
Do you want to see arrogance? And the way that I answered was like, what the fuck do you want?
I love when the sweetest people can be the biggest assholes ever. You just turn on the switch, just flip the switch, and people will definitely show you both sides if they really want to.
Yeah, like the way we finished the call wasn't the best. He kind of like hung up on me. He was pissed by how arrogant I was with him at that point. And as soon as I was out of the house to Montmartre, I was like, that, hell yeah. And that was like very reassuring to me. Like, you do not. That was the first time every time that I saw his face on a picture that he sent me, or in like, you're going to have to mimic my face to the viewers. Every time that he would send me something, I would be like, that was the first time that I opened a call.
It's like,
and I was like,
second time.
Ew.
So we've gone from to
ew. Literally, I was like, no. And I don't know if the fact that I was also in someone's house and I was having a good time with that person, and this really helped to keep my ground. And that was exactly the situation that I needed. Like, when people think like, do you believe in free will? I had the free will to choose back there to go to couch surfing.
Yes, 100% you did.
And, at this point...
You had the free will to listen also when someone was suggesting it.
And I could even pick it up all my stuff and go to Antoine's house if he
anytime.
And he was saying like, I regret doing this.
We'll bleep out his name, Tony's name. All good.
And then it was funny because he was like, yes, I regret acting that way. I regret, like, he said at that moment, I was scared. I was like, why did you ghost me so many times? Why you didn't make any plans? And now I've told you that I was not going to meet you for dinner at your best convenience. I've told you that. And he told me, I was scared that everything that we've planned before when we were together, you would be with your expectations so high. I wanted to give back what you gave to me when I was in Floripa, but I couldn't really bear the fact that I would have to commit. He had the feeling that he would have to commit to me. He would have to take this relationship to the next level. After that was the only possibility after I went to Paris, is that I would expect him something really solid.
I just feel like maybe he was expecting that because that's what he told you.
Yeah, he told me. He literally told me that.
I just feel like we just need to be careful when we're pillow talking. That's all.
Yeah.
Don't promise things you really have no intention of following through on. And if you say things in moments that are really intimate, and the second that you reflect back on them, come out and be honest with someone. Just be like, maybe it was still maybe the mushrooms talking a little bit, or maybe it was the vacation high, or just being in your energy high. It'd be like, now that I've gotten back home and I've allowed myself to come back to earth a little bit, I see things a little bit differently, and I just want to check back in with each other about our timeline. And not our timeline, perhaps, that's not the right word. I want to check back in with each other about our tempo, our flow with each other. Are we moving at the same speed? Because I might have given you a reason to go a little bit faster. And I just want to check back in with you now and let you know that I actually am at this speed. And I think that's so healthy and so mature, and something that, Tony, if you're listening, maybe you try again in the future.
I feel like it's very common for us to do this, though.
Mm-hmm.
Even me, I might have like said things that were really to the moment, and I mean, maybe I wouldn't be able, even if he was like all in, I wouldn't be able to leave from Floripa as if he said like tomorrow move here. I wouldn't be able maybe to prepare like
No, I mean, but that's
like
not.
overnight, you know? So actually, I feel like
But no one needs to move overnight, though. That's what I mean. Like you can be at the same speed and still acknowledge that and be like, oh, we feel like
are
we're
we the
ready.
same wavelength.
But if we both feel like the next step is moving to each other's country, which way that might go.
Look at perfection.
Other Tony.
Yeah, I just want to know if he was in the same wavelength.
Yeah, and you can still be like, hey, that's great to know we're both at that speed. But unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to put it, this is where I'm at right now, and I don't see myself making that next big step for us until 3 or 6 or 12 months from now.
Actually, I really wish that he had said that, because I would say, thank you, me neither. Because I cannot move from Floripa now. Like, I need to go back.
These assumptions.
Like, I need at least an year to make... We've talked about that.
Yeah.
You said you need a couple months.
I'm kind of fast with it.
I need an year to process before I can like move with my actions. I need to prepare myself mentally and like minimize my things, and it takes a year for me to like.
That's a big move as well. That's a big move.
But he knew that it wouldn't be overnight. That I needed to see myself.
I mean, that could be an assumption though.
That was the thing. The only thing that I wanted, like, I saw him in my perspective, in my place.
Your projection.
And like, well, when he was in Brazil, if we really had like this good vibe and he said like, I would like to move to Floripa, could I see myself with him here in my environment? Yeah, probably. But I need to see it, how was going to be for us in Paris. And then there will be a next question. Could we see each other together in this scenario? Because maybe I would see him here with me.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't see myself there.
Yeah, you did.
Maybe I would see myself traveling there.
And this is why, sorry, I hope this is a great time to mention this, but this is why I love the idea of Nomad Love Lab. We're in a lab. We're experimenting. We're trying and testing things. You really don't know until you give it a try. A lot of these things are not tried and tested. There's no book you can open up and be like, how do I find love when we're from 2 completely different cultures, living in 2 different countries, yet we met in the 3rd country. There's no examples of how this is supposed to work. The only way you can know is if you put yourself out there and you just try. Oh, I'm so sorry about that, my friends. But yes. We were dealing with some power issues that night with the big storm rolling in. So unfortunately, we did get cut off. We lost a good chunk of audio at the end. But I hope you were able to really be able to hear Alice's whole story and see how it was really empowering for her to make the decision that she was going to take the trip to London and Paris on her own and to enjoy the adventure on her own and for herself. Because sometimes when we put too much emphasis on someone else to, carry out these memorable experiences with us and it doesn't work out the way we plan, it can kind of sour the memory of that location, or that feeling that you were so excited to experience once you got there. But yeah, here I am just to wrap up the end of this episode since it ended so abruptly. Maybe one day we'll be able to find the corrupted files or recover the corrupted files. But until then, we'll just have to keep interviewing, keep getting to know more people and their stories. We have a few new guests already locked in on the schedule coming up in June here, so I'm really excited. A few other things that I should let you know is that soon I'll be heading to Rio, so this background behind me will be changing to something much more big city. And what else? Yeah, we're having a speed dating event coming up in Rio. That's going to be on June 15th. So take a look at my socials to keep up with all the details about that. And you can register for the event on my website under the events section. And yeah, I think that's about it. I really wasn't planning on doing a quick recording, but after listening back, I could hear that we could use a little ending. So here I am, no makeup, no nothing, not even a bright light, which I should have turned on, but I hope you guys are vibing. All right, but we'll see you when you see me on the next episode of the Nomad Love Lab podcast. Cheers.